Welcome back, punks and rebels. You are listening to the Pink Pony Club on SYN 90.7 FM. I'm going to do a quick acknowledgement of country. SYN FM acknowledges and pays respects to the traditional owners of the land on which we stand, the Wurundjeri people and of the Kulin Nations. We respect their elders, past and present. We also acknowledge and respect all First Nations peoples, elders and lands where our content reaches. Hello everybody, you are listening to the Pink Pony Club. How's it going, y'all? As you should know, if you don't know, I'm going to tell you. This is the Pink Pony Club, which is a show talking about queer artists from all across the world. This week, we are talking about The Mechanisms. They are a British band from 2010s-ish. They are no longer together, but still sort of vibing, you know. They still exist, and people still like them. At least I still like them. But they're not making new music. So The Mechanisms, this is a bit of a different band for today. The Mechanisms are a concept band, which means that the people that sing aren't the people in the band, you know, you've got the people that sing play characters who are part of this band. So they're a group of immortal space pirates who roam the galaxy, telling the stories they see with their own little twists. So that's pretty cool. Because they're a concept band, each album and specifically each single song, so each album and each single song will have a story. So each album has a theme around it. The album we're going to look at today is about fairy tales. They also have ones about Greek myth and Arthurian myth, so Camelot and stuff, and Norse myth as well. And then they have albums that have a bunch of singles, which are individual stories in one song, which is pretty cool. Alright, this first song we are going to play is off one of their single albums. It's sort of about all the mechanisms, as they're called, getting a bit kidnapped by this guy who wants to steal their immortality. It tells you a bit about the names of all the characters and sort of how the dynamics play out. Yeah, let's jump up and listen to this new song. Hold on, if I can figure out. There we go. All right, so this is The Ignominious Demise of Dr. Pilchard by The Mechanisms. Give it a listen.
Gunpowder Tim and Ashes O'Reilly, laid low by brute force alone, with Nastya succumbing to a computer virus. Drumbot Brian was marched to the brig at gunpoint. Ivy was enticed there by the prospect of a book fair. Raffaella Lacognizzi chloroformed in her lap. The toy soldier caved into peer pressure. Johnny caved into octo-kitten pressure. And as for Marius, I just asked him nicely, are we sitting comfortably?
No.
Good. Then I'll begin. Finally, I've got you trapped in here with me. Your ship is seized, now you're on your knees. You're overpowered within the hour. You'll be inside my laboratory. Life, eternity. This is the gift you'll give to me. True immortality. All of your secrets soon I'll see.
You know, I must admit I'm impressed. I don't remember the last time anyone managed to incapacitate us all like this.
Wasn't it that aristocratic one with all the knives?
Ah, the Marquis to all the knives. Now there was a worthy foe.
Soon there'll be nothing money cannot buy. They'll trade their wealth for eternal life. The strife of man since the world began is to conquer death, and that's my plan. Life, eternity. This is the gift you'll give to me. True immortality. All of your secrets soon I'll see.
Why is it always immortality? Why does no one ever want anything more interesting?
I know, right? What about, say, gold? All this gold lying around.
Yeah. Why do you have all that gold?
Oh, it's for tax purposes.
Hear my words, I'm an honest man, and I'll tell you how our crew began. A workshop height in a ship's inside, and I'll take you there, for it's wrong to lie. Life, eternity, granted by this laboratory.
No, I'll go alone to sea. You won't escape that easily.
You thought I was tricking him. I wasn't tricking him.
You sent him alone and unarmed into the doc's lab.
Point taken.
Life. Eternity. I don't want this gift. Keep away from me. No. Stay back. Stay back.
And we never saw him again.
So that was the ignominious demise of Dr. Pilchard. Yeah, it's just a little flavour for what you're into for this whole night, this next 2 hours. So I'm just going to say a bit about how the Mechanisms functions as a band. So their main gimmick is that they take classic stories and they sorry, I got so distracted just then. They take classic stories like fairy tales and myths, and they give them a bit of a twist, put them into the setting of their world, which is space, right? And a lot of the stories have multiple different perspectives. Sometimes you hear songs from the perspectives of one of the members of the Mechanisms. Sometimes you hear it from one of the people the story's about. Sometimes you're this like big overarching narrator and you just hear everything objectively, or objectively as you can. And so in each album, each member of the band, each member of the Mechanisms plays a character they're talking about. So in this album we're going to show, there is the character of Rose Red. Rose Red is a character in the album, but her lines are being sung by the toy soldier, who is Jessica Law, right? It's a bit confusing, but we're gonna learn together, we're gonna grow together, and by the end, you're gonna be a Mechanisms master, okay? Pretty cool. So, the way tonight will function is a bit different to the rest of what we've been doing on Pink Pony Club. I've also should address I'm by myself today. Normally I have my wonderful co-host Lucy to join me, but she is unavailable. So this is why you get this very experimental work of radio. So we will play one Mechanisms album in full, that being their first album, Once Upon a Time in Space, with conversation breaks in between every 2 songs, right? And then, if we have some time, we're going to play some more bonus songs that they've also sung from other albums or from their singles albums to, liven up the mood. Because, the mechs, they get a bit sad sometimes. So we're going to bring it back. So, the way this is going to work is that the mechs albums that are concept albums, like a full story in one album, normally start with a track of dialogue or exposition, and then a song, and then dialogue and exposition, and it keeps going like that for the whole album. So we're going to do their track of dialogue and exposition, their song, and then I'm going to have a little talk break. So you get to be reminded that I'm still here and listening along with you. Yes, this album that we'll be playing is, as I said, Once Upon a Time in Space, and it takes classic fairy tale stories and sets them in the middle of a big space war with like kings and princes or princesses and all this cool stuff. All right, now this is enough from me. Let's start with Once Upon a Time in Space by the Mechanisms with the songs Once and Old King Cole. Here we go.
Once upon a time, in a far-off sector of a very old galaxy, there lived a king. Long ago he was a good king, a wise king. It was even said of him that he was merry. But the technology that had extended his life throughout the millennia had warped his mind as it had withered his body. And soon his soul grew red with the lust for conquest.
Old King Cole was a brutal soul, and a bloody red soul had he. He called for his mead and his gun so cold, and he called for his little pigs 3. Now every piggy had a razor blade and sharpened it with glee. Oh, far and coal and his little pigs 3. Factories churn, bodies burn, stars are shining bright. It's your turn, now you learn how King Cole feasts tonight. Old King Cole was not missold, yes, he had 100 score. The dark appliance of infernal science would give him millennia more. And he would watch as the suns burned out, collapsing from their core. Oh, never to forgive, he would eternal live. His hands dyed red by gore. Factories churn, bodies burn, stars are shining bright. It's your turn, now you learn how King Cole feasts tonight. Old King Cole had conquered and stole the wealth of 1,000 sons. Surrounded was he by bodyguards 3 who murdered for their sovereign's fun. Arrayed in armor black as ebony, it did no good to run. Whatever your task, the grim pig mask would tell you that your life was done. Factories churn, bodies burn, stars are shining bright. It's your turn, now you learn how King Cole feasts tonight. In the center of Xantine, capital city of New Constantinople, there stood a vast palace. Cavernous chambers by their hundreds were cared for by staff too numerous to count, while below, tunnels and passageways unused for a dozen lifetimes sprawled under the city like a spider's web, reaching every nook and lurking place. Somewhere, in the center of this labyrinth stood a small, unremarkable room roughly hewn from thick black rock, where King Cole sat on his white throne. His shriveled form seemed all the more withered on its ivory bulk, surrounded as always by the 3 little pigs, silent guardians who never moved nor spoke as the blood pooled on the floor before their ruler. The feast was soon to begin. Old King Cole had a tale he told to those brought before his throne. Immense and white, it gleamed in the night, the color of sun-bleached bone. He'd whisper softly in their ears, the words were never known. None could tell what was said, save for the dead and the 3 little pigs alone. Factories churn, bodies burn, stars are shining bright. It's your turn, now you learn how King Cole feasts tonight.
So, that was the first 2 tracks from the album. How we feeling? What do we think? So that was, again, Once and Old King Cole. Old King Cole, I feel, is just such a banger song to start off the album with. Like, it sets the tone. It's like, yeah, this is going to be about a evil king in space called Old King Cole, based on, like, the nursery rhyme, right? And he's got the 3 little pigs who are, like, guarding him and, like, his little henchmen. And it's like, that's so cool. That's such an epic way to introduce a story. But yeah, so that's obviously getting the feel for where the album is and also how it's functioned. So that first track is talking about what's happening, and then the song, which gives you more of that sort of, it's sort of like a musical, but not, because it's a concept album. Anyways, let us keep going. Let's keep these good vibes going. We're going to go to the next 2 songs, The Twins and Rose Red. Alrighty.
Now, as King Cole turned his envious eyes towards conquest, twins were born to the noblest family of his kingdom. 2 beautiful baby girls named by their parents as Snow and Rose. As they grew, it became clear they had little in common. Snow was possessed of long, luxuriant black hair and became a gifted politician, always urging peace and diplomacy among the aging warmongers of the royal court. While Rose, with her short shock of scarlet hair, became the finest warrior of King Cole's army. And so it came to pass that the aged king, desperate for a force that could never be stopped, never be defeated, never be halted as it marched from planet to planet, had Rose seized on her wedding day to become the genetic base of this unholy horde.
Dr. Hansel, is this her?
My liege, I did not expect...
Of course not. I advertise my movements to nobody. So this is my finest warrior.
Yes, my liege. The subject has proven rather more resilient to the procedure than we anticipated, but
Rest assured that we shall have the first consignment of Rose Reds ready within the month.
Excellent, Doctor, excellent. You and your sister have served me well.
Thank you, my liege. Soon we will have unending supplies of this exemplary warrior, knowing no pain, no fear.
What? No, my dear Doctor. Pain and fear are important tools for survival. A good soldier should be able to overcome them, but they must be there. No. Make sure she knows pain. And make sure she knows fear.
Rose, rose, rose red, will I ever see thee red? I will never set thy rose
covered stone.
Rose, rose, rose red, will I ever see thee wed? I will marry at thy will, sir, at thy will, sir, ding dong, ding dong, wedding bells on an April morn, carve thy name on a moss-covered stone, on a moss-covered stone, on a moss-covered stone.
Alrighty, that was the Twins and Rose Red. Rose Red, oh my god, it's such a beautiful song. It's like harrowing, but it's like nice. Like it's comforting in a sad way. You know, I just love it. It's really beautiful. So beautiful that when I showed it to one of my online friends back when I was really into the Mechanisms in 2020, I think. Like I played it for them. We were on a video call, and then they played it again and again and again, and they were like crying by the end of it. It was great. I was like, wow, music really is important, you know. So yeah, shout out Charlie. You were right. This song is such a banger. Anyways, so as we can tell in this album, Rose is not having a good time. She's not having a Baja Blast right now. So basically, Rose has been taken from her wedding day and like is now being used for cloning for like soldiers for King Cole's army because, you know, remember, he's evil. Not a good guy. We don't like old King Cole. So that's pretty crazy, right? Keep that in mind. And now with that, we go on to Snow's Flight and Pump Shanty. Let's get into it.
When the soldiers seized Rose, they killed everyone at the wedding. There were only 2 survivors. The first was Snow, who managed to crawl to safety, badly injured, though she lost much of herself in the process. No longer safe on New Constantinople, she gathered what allies she could find. Warriors, nobles, diplomats, and they fled towards the periphery on the SS Anderson. But they were betrayed. A bomb, hidden in their food shipments, in a crate of apples, detonated, leaving the ship floating in space. Snow called the crew together.
Dr. Lorenzo, what's our status?
There's me, you, and 6 others. But Colonel Chuko's badly injured.
Mr. Greyditch, how's the ship?
Simply put, we are dead. The engines are so badly damaged it will take us 3 days to reach the periphery, and the oxygen pumping system is gone. We have barely an hour of breathable air left. Make peace with whatever gods you have, because we are going to die.
What about some sort of override system? Couldn't we pump the air manually?
Pump the air manually? Are you insane? We don't have the people, we don't have the time, we don't have the material, we don't have
It might work, but look, we just don't have the manpower, especially with Colonel Chuko confined to the sick bay.
Oh, don't you go listening to that grumpy old bastard, Doc. The medical bay wasn't hit, and I am so doped up right now, I could work forever. The lady says pump, then we pump.
Wise a man that I was folk, life and heart is all a joke. He was not in all this once with pump me boys before we choked. Pump me boys, let her fly down to hell and up to the sky. Bend your backs and break your bones with just a million miles from home. The image of my sweetheart's face, it fires the heart and sets the pace. Whatever the time, where'er the place, I'll find him through the depths of space. Singing, pump me boys, let her fly down to hell and up to the sky. Bend your backs and break your bones with just a million miles from home. I long to lie atop my bed, pleasant dreams inside my head. My pumping's all I get instead, I'll only sleep among the dead. Pump me boys, let her fly down to hell and up to the sky. Bend your backs and break your bones with just a million miles from home. My blood is pooling on the floor, and every second I lose more. But there's so many meds in store, I'll do the work of 3 or 4. Singing, pump me boys, let her fly down to hell and up to the sky. Bend your backs and break your bones with just a million miles from home. The engine fumes will scorch your lungs, the smog is thick, your eyes are stung, but there's no clean air left to run. This pumping business ain't much fun. Singing, pump me boys, let her fly down to hell and up to the sky. Bend your backs and break your bones with just a million miles from home. The outer hull is shut to hell, the thrust has just one plasma cell. My joints and muscles ache and swell, so fuck the Rose and you as well. Pump me boys, let her fly down to hell and up to the sky. Bend your backs and break your bones with just a million miles from home. A transport mission gonna ride, attacked by cold and left to fry. Is no excuse, boys, let us try. Today is not the day we die. Pump me boys, let her fly down to hell and up to the sky. Bend your backs and break your bones with just a million miles from home. Bend your backs and break your bones with just a million miles from home. I said, pump me boys, let her fly down to hell and up to the sky. Bend your backs and break your bones with just a million miles from home.
Alrighty, that was Pump Shanty, but before that, it was Snow's Flight. Sorry for that little gap in between songs. I sort of forgot that I was the one controlling the music. I was jamming out too hard. Thought I was listening to my Spotify playlist. I'm like, wow, Pump Shanty's gonna come next, and then it didn't. But you know what? We chillin'. This is fine. Just a little bit about me. Pump Shanty was like my first favorite Mechanism song ever. The violinist Nastia Rasputina, she does like the sped up bit right at the end, you know, with like 1, 2, 3, 4, that part. It's great. I love it. It's my favorite part of the whole song. But it's so fun watching videos, like live recorded videos of her doing that, because she goes so fast. Like the way her arms move is like faster than the speed of light. I have no idea how she does it. Shout out, Nastia. You're amazing and I love you. So basically, I used to listen to Pump Shanty all the time when I was in high school. It used to help me like calm my nerves when I got overstimulated. So I really vibe with that song. It's, even though it's like not my favorite anymore because I've listened to it too many times, I still really love it. And being able to play it on air is crazy cool. I love it so much. Yes, that was Pump Shanty. So quick recap: we know that Snow and her crew got away, like from the wedding day slaughter, right? So, with that, we now go into the songs The Bride and Cinder's Song. Let's do it.
After 3 days, without food, without water, without sleep, Snow and the 7 survivors of the Anderson reached the periphery. There, adopting the identity of General White, she began to form a partisan resistance and lead the fight back against the king. But there was another survivor of the wedding day slaughter. A princess, if you believe the tales, of a world long since fallen before his majesty's finest. Named for the ashes of her world, she was known only as Cinders. But it was her that Rose loved, and it was her that Rose would have married were it not for the king's intercession. When the soldiers came, Cinders fled. She took to the stars and swore to find Rose. She began to search every planet, every moon, longing for the day when the jewel on her glass wedding band would change from white into red, indicating that its twin was near, and with it, her true love. And as she searched, she sang.
When I was a little girl, my mother always told me, someday your prince will come, my love. But as I grew, I knew it was a princess who would hold me. I looked to the stars for you, my love. Oh, my love, as the cannons were a-blazing, I looked to the stars for you, my love. Oh, my love, as the cities you were raising, I looked to the stars, to you, my love. My world was left a-burning and my royal house a-bleeding. I looked to the stars for you, my love. My stepmother and sisters betrayed our world, conceding. I looked to the stars for you, my love. Oh, my love, as they led me to the prison, I looked through the walls and saw you, my love. Oh, my love, my soul was then arisen. I looked through the scars to you, my love. A godmother in white, she came and led me to your crimson. I held you blessed in my arms, my love. Together now we long to hear the matrimonial hymn sung, eternally bound to you, my love. Oh, my love, as the soldiers open fire on our wedding day, I ran, my love. Forgive me, my love, cannot hide you. I search through the stars for you, my love. My ring will lead me to you and the life they have denied you. I search through the stars for you, my love. Oh, my love, then we'll finally be together. I search through the stars for you, my love. Oh, my love, right in my arms forever. Your princess will come for you, my love. Oh, my love, oh, my love, your senders will come for you, my love.
That was. Wait, hold up. I forgot what the first track was called for real. The Bride and Cinder's Song. That song is for sure one of my favorites off the album. One of my favorites in general from the Mechanisms. It's like so nice. Like it's just really sweet, and it's like bittersweet. But you can tell that like Cinder's intentions are so pure because she just really loves Rose, and she like would do anything to get Rose back. And it's like, oh my god, me and who, you know? It's just a great. It makes me feel really nice. So speaking of lesbian characters, I'm going to take a quick break to talk about the queerness of the Mechanisms, because this is a queer show. If you're just tuning in now, this is the Pink Pony Club. You're listening to us on SYN, which is 90.7 FM. Yeah. So this show obviously focuses on different queer artists each week and like all across the world. So as I said earlier, the Mechanisms are a British band, and a lot of the members are queer, but not just the members, the song characters too, because this band has so many queer characters in all of their songs that I physically cannot name all of them because there's too many. There is too many. But a lot of the members of the band are also queer. So you have Jonathan Sims, who he is like the lead male vocalist and the narrator. His character that he plays is Johnny DeVille. He's pansexual, the actor. But probably Johnny DeVille is too, who knows? He's immortal. You get bored. Then you have Kofi Young, who plays Dr. Baron Marius von Rahm. That actor, Kofi, is non-binary. Also non-binary is Frank Voss, who plays Ashes O'Reilly. And then Nastia Rasputina is a trans woman and a lesbian. And Morgan Wilkinson, who plays Ivy Alexandria, is a trans man. Which, pretty cool. Like, the Mechanisms, they're just great. Every time I'm like, wow, they couldn't get any better. It's like, wow, they're all like me. This is epic, you know? If you notice, I didn't say Nastia Rasputina's actor's name, is because after they left the Mechanisms, they didn't really want their identity to be known, like, outside of the band, so everyone just refers to them as their character name, Nastia Rasputina. Okay, cool. Let's keep these good vibes going. So, to recap, the only two people to survive the wedding day slaughter were Snow, the people that Snow, like, made a group with after the wedding, and Cinders. Now, this is where the war picks back up, okay? This is where we get into a lot of space stuff. I was going to expand on that, but then I forgot the words. So, these next songs are The Resistance Grows and Our Boy Jack. I am so excited to play these to you. Okay, let's do it. I'm going to stop talking.
Meanwhile, on the periphery, Snow's revolution was going from strength to strength, and soon it spread. Hamlin, Ariel, every world, every moon touched by the bony hand of the king. Their tactics were cruel and vicious, as befitted their despotic foe. But there were heroes. The beautiful Colonel Bell, a tactical genius guarded at all times by her savage husband. The lady known only as the Red Hood, who would use her wolf virus to hack into crown vehicles and ride them into battle. And they fought against monsters. Geppetto, the demon of Aesop, known for his experiments into biomechanical augmentation, especially on children. or the silver-tongued propaganda minister, Scheherazade. But in all the annals of the Resistance, no name shines brighter than that of Corporal John Spratt, known to his friends as Mad Jack or Jack the Giant Killer, after he single-handedly destroyed a rose-red behemoth. He was eventually captured and killed, of course. But if you tuned your radio just right of an evening, you might have heard the unofficial anthem of the Resistance.
Oh, when the red rose, it comes a-marching, well, we will fight, fight for our boy Jack. When the red rose, it comes a-marching, spit in the face of history. And when the giants, they come a-rolling, then we will fight, fight for our boy Jack. When the giants, they come a-rolling, if he can slay them, so can we. And when the cannons rain down from orbit, then we will stand, stand for our boy Jack. When the cannons rain down from orbit, then we will stand with dignity. And when the rose comes over the water, then we will sink them, for our boy Jack. When the rose comes over the water, then we will sink them in their sea. And when the whiskey, it starts a-flowing, then we will drink to our boy Jack. When the whiskey, it starts a-flowing, then let us pour it fast and free. And when they hunt us, they shall not find us, for we'll be quick like our boy Jack. When they hunt us, they shall not find us, and we shall live in infamy. And when my body is lost and broken, then I shall rest down with our boy Jack. When my body is lost and broken, well then boys, you fight for me. And when the red rose, it comes a-marching, then we'll fight for our boy Jack. When the red rose, it comes a-marching, spit in the face of history.
Alrighty. That was The Resistance Grows and Our Boy Jack by The Mechanisms. You are listening to Pink Pony Club on SYN 90.7 FM. Ooh, that should be their jingle. That was very fun. Alrighty. That song is so crazy good. Our Boy Jack, banger. Where is its aria? I don't know what the name of music things awards are. Where is its awards? Our Boy Jack, come on now. Where's the hype, you know? So, if I'm out of breath, it's because I got up and danced that whole song. Just hope you know. It's just I couldn't contain myself. It's just that good. So, if you didn't know, the Mechanisms actually base a lot of their instrumentals of their songs on pre-existing songs. So they'll take like similar instrumentals and use it and the lyric formula for their songs, but like make it theirs and twist it and all that stuff. So this song is actually based off an Italian resistance song called Bella Ciao. This was used a lot in like World War II, I think. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Like they took that song, which is already iconic enough. It's a really good song. And like turned it into this other song that's also about resistance and about revolution, about fighting, which I think is really crazy and cool. Yeah, I would say who sings Bella Ciao, because it started as like a chanty thing. There isn't like an official person who like sings it. There are a bunch of different recorded versions, like after the war, obviously. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I just think it's epic. I love that song. It's crazy good. Also, if you haven't noticed, the Mechanisms love their references. They love their little Easter eggs in their songs, right? So this album has a lot of fairy tale references because that's what the stories are based off of. So if you noticed in Snow's Flight, when Snow, like the ship gets exploded, the bomb was placed in a carton of apples, which is like Snow White apples. pretty cool. And all of the people who like sing in Pump Shanty, all of the like the people part of her crew, are supposed to represent the 7 dwarves, which again, really cool. Like you've got the Doc, and then you've got the Sleepy, and you've got all that. You've got Grumpy. Like it's so well done. And then obviously in The Resistance Grows, which is the song before Pump Shanty, you had references to all the different heroes. So you had Belle, I think you had, you have a bunch of others referenced. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. And Jack the Giant Killer, Jack and the Beanstalk. Come on, you see where I'm going with this. It's just crazy cool. I think it's fun that they were able to have that much fun and weave in all this different, like, different references to the material that they're basing their work off of. Like, obviously you can tell that it's made with love and that they have deep respect for all of these stories because they're putting all these little Easter eggs in, and they're also just making the album in the first place, you know? Like, you can just tell that it's just like a really, really a passionate piece of work. Yeah. So, as we know in the story, also this broadcast might end really early because I didn't realize how fast it would go. But you know what? We're gonna go till we go. So the story, the revolution against Old King Cole is in full swing. These next songs are talking about like the mechanism's involvement in this war, with the songs "The Aurora Strikes" and "Sleeping Beauty." Here we go.
In reality, of course, Jack was merely a boy gone to war too young, unable to cope with the realities he turned to drink. He rarely took shelter during bombardments because he was too drunk to stand, and it was his captain that slew the behemoth, while Jack hid like a coward. But heroes have been made out of less, and in the end, he died well. And it was in this manner that the Civil War raged on for 30 years. The space pirate crew of the Aurora, known as the Mechanisms, had been watching all this time, fascinated. For when you are immortal, a good war is a very pleasant distraction indeed. But it was at this point they discovered something interesting. The Rose Reds were the most effective of the soldiers created from Rose's genetic material, but they were not the first. Rumors spoke of an early prototype known as the Briar Rose that had malfunctioned and slain everyone on the desert moon of Briar where she was being grown. But she was not dead. As the Mechanisms discovered, instead, she slept at the heart of the defense grid that surrounded New Constantinople. The grid was composed of Thorn-class gun emplacements and was virtually impenetrable. And in its center, the Briar Rose slumbered, plugged into the system, her anger, her rage, her hatred, and her fear fueling the machines and focusing their gun turrets. And this bothered Nastia, engineer of the Aurora, so she went to the closest thing the ship had to a captain. Myself, Johnny DeVille.
Johnny, we're not going to argue about this.
I don't understand it, Nastia. We've been watching billions die for the last 3 decades, and we've been having a great time.
I know.
And now you want to go white knight over a science project with a broken snooze button. I don't buy it.
Well, you see, Johnny, that is because I have not been telling you the whole story. It is not actually me who is complaining. It is Aurora, our starship.
Fuck the ship.
I do.
You.
Anyway, Johnny, I am merely informing you out of courtesy. You see, I've already told Brian to land the coordinates.
Brian, that insubordinate piece of brass!
Yes, I know, and we are on our way.
Well, I suppose that there's no real danger. The ship
there isn't.
Or us.
No.
And it has been a while since we've had any really good violence.
It has indeed.
All right. Let's go.
Trapped within the warmth and the darkness, from the waking world I was torn, never leaving dreamless slumber, in a mind that's broken and worn, guarded by uncounted ready guns and blades, out in the sky, I was happy. Faintly I remember the sun soaring through the dawn and its brightness. Battle beauty both I had won. Then a flash of pain as metal pierces flesh, and all at once my roaming it was done. Wires through my veins and my tendons, keeping safe my hateful old lord, protecting his infernal defense grid. Unwillingly my lifeblood is poured. I once heard them say a kiss could wake me up, but I hope my prince will bring a sword.
Take Aurora in gently, Nastya. Let's see what these roses can do. Gotta say I'm in the mood for violence, and I reckon you might be too. Let's get this party started the only way we know. Gunfire and explosions, that's our cue. Hello, ladies. Fire till your guns are empty, till your ammunition runs dry. If you finish playing a soldier, you might have noticed we cannot die. I suggest you beat a fucking tactical retreat, or well, let's nip the dogs of war and have a cry. Is this her? How do we wake her up?
Well, you could try kissing her.
I'm not gonna kiss a sleeping stranger, Nastya. That's really fucking creepy.
Oh, well, try your normal plan. Shoot the machines until they explode.
I will. I will do that. What do you know? It worked. Here within the central chamber, circled by the dead beauty sleeps, inching ever closer to freedom. There beyond the glass door she weeps. Let's see what surprises the waking world will hold, as gradually consciousness creeps.
Alrighty, that was The Aurora Strikes and Sleeping Beauty by The Mechanisms. Those two tracks, oh my lord, I could talk for my entire life about those two tracks. They're probably my favorite, track song pairing of the album, because they're just so great. The whole conversation between Johnny and Nastya is so funny and it's great, and I love it so much. And then you've got the slow build up at the start of Sleeping Beauty sung by Briar Rose, and then you have Johnny just crashing in and causing havoc, and then you have his petty conversation between Nastya. It's so good. So this Sleeping Beauty and the Aurora Strikes are probably one of my favorite pairings because I love Nastya Rasputina so much. She is my favorite member of the Mechanisms, and she left the band a little after the first album, so she doesn't have a lot of content, and she doesn't have a lot of presence in the band. So you only hear her speak in those two tracks and the end of The Ignominious Demise of Dr. Pilchard. So it's just very treasured. It's very treasured to me, those tracks, because that's the love of my life right there. That's the only time I hear her voice recorded. Yeah, she's just great. I love Nastya. She's a violinist. She's in love with her spaceship. She is crazy cool. I don't know what I have to say. If you don't love her, then maybe we shouldn't be friends. No, I'm just joking. Nastya, call me, please. Anyways. Oh, yes, also, in every Mechanisms album, big concept album, there is a reference to the involvement of the mechs in that story. So with this one, it would be Nastya and Johnny having a hand in freeing the Briar Rose and helping the revolution, right? In some of the other albums, it's similar to that, where in Ulysses Has at Dawn, we have Ashes being the role of Hades, and some of the other characters, Marius, was psychoanalyzing the Olympians in Ulysses Has at Dawn, which is so funny because he's not actually a doctor. So he's just going off the top of his head, just like, and why do you think you did that? Which is great. And then like Drumbot Brian, he is Merlin in High Noon at Camelot, which is pretty cool. And then Marius, again, Rafaela and Ivy, they're all in the Bifrost Incident, which is the Norse album. They all get imprisoned for a few years and harass this like guy that is who's telling the story practically. Yeah, so I like that in a lot of the different albums, in all the albums, there's just a little sprinkling of, and what were the mechanisms doing at this time, you know? What were they up to? How do they know this story, you know? Were they there? Were they not there? They were always there, obviously, because they know the story. But, like, what were they doing? It's a little glimpse into their private lives, I guess. I don't know. It's just fun. It's just a fun little fact, I guess. All right, back to the story. Quick recap. The Briar Rose has been freed. What does that mean for the revolution? What does that mean for Old King Cole and his army? Let's find out with these next 2 tracks, Endgame and No Happy Ending. Here we go, guys. It's getting a bit intense now.
As for what happened to our Sleeping Beauty, that's a tale for another day. The defense grid was disabled, and it didn't take the rebels long to notice. The Red Riding Hood, using a larger, more powerful version of her wolf virus, quickly disabled the rest. And soon, every rebel ship for 200 systems swarmed in the skies over Xantine, while on the ground, the last of Old King Cole's loyalist troops prepared for their defense. And on that morning, the last any of them would ever see, Snow and Old King Cole addressed their troops, and the final gambit was begun.
Prepare your souls, there's no happy ending in sight for us. Listen, my people, and hear my words. Hearken to the voice of your Lord. The rebels descend like bacon, and from cannon and bullet and knife and sword. Lay down your knives in defense of your king. Will shore up the walls of the loyal dead. Spill your blood in a crimson flood. The wolves of war shall soon be fed. Now our backs are to the wall. Stand your ground, we shall not fall. We go to war with tooth and claw. Prepare your souls, there's no happy ending in sight for us. comes near. Face your fear. Prepare your souls, there's no happy ending, no happy ending, no happy ending in sight for us.
That was No Happy Ending and Endgame. Guys, this is so crazy for me right now. This is like full circle moment. No Happy Ending was the first ever Mechanism song I ever heard. I was on TikTok. This is back before TikTok was like everywhere, which was like 3 years ago. Anyways, and I saw a cosplay video of like a podcast that I liked, and it used this song. It was right at the end. The end comes near, face of fear. There's no happy ending aside for us. That part, and I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. And then I was in English class like the next day or that afternoon or whatever, and I'm like, we're doing work and we're allowed to have headphones in. Let me Google the lyrics to that song that was stuck in my head from that cosplay video. And I Googled it. And then I found No Happy Ending. And I'm like, damn, this thing's a banger, you know? And then I was like, oh, let me listen to the full album real quick, you know? That's pretty cool. Pretty cool thing for me to do while I'm reading this PowerPoint. And so I did. And then I was like listening, and I'm not even paying attention to English anymore because I'm like, wow, this album is so good. And then I get to Pump Shanty, and I'm like, let me just listen to that on repeat 20 times. Yeah, okay, yeah. You know? Like, it physically, like, changed my life in that very moment. I'm like, wow, this is crazy, you know? Wow. And I never knew it was going to have this much of an effect on me 4 years later. But, you know, that's life, man. Pretty crazy. Yeah. Also, that song is just so good. Like, the different singing between, like, Snow to her army and Cole to his army, and then them singing it like the same time. It's like, ooh, the themes are theming, you know, like it's working, it's all happening, you know. This is a crazy big penultimate moment. All right, here we go. I know you've been waiting for this whole broadcast, and my talking has been interrupting the flow of the song, but you know what? It's okay because we get to experience this together. You for probably the first time, and me for like the 100th time because I love this album. This is the final battle. Let's go, y'all. This is it. This is where everything happens. This is the final moment. Nothing bad could possibly happen, right? Right? Like it's totally not the final track. Totally not that the final tracks are titled Chapter the Last and Laid in Blood by the Mechanisms. Let's get into it. I'm gonna hold you off. Not gonna keep you waiting for much longer. Here we go.
Blood and fire rained from the sky, while on the ground the bodies of the dead and dying were used as cover and camouflage for those still fighting. When Cinders arrived, she knew from the colour of her ring that her love was near. Joining up with the last of Snow's troops, later remembered as the Noble 23, a lie but a pretty one, they descended into the Undercity to seek the throne room of the king. What they found were the 3 little pigs. The battle was brief, with rebels falling like chaff before their black iron foes, and then Snow saw Rose. Still in the glass life pod she'd been in for 30 years, and shattered it with a single shot. Rose opened her eyes, and her first sight in 30 years was her sister, falling lifeless to the floor with a bullet in her heart. Nothing could contain Rose's rage as she snapped, shattered, and broke the 3 little pigs, leaving them nothing but empty, hollowed-out husks. And then she saw Cinders. For one beautiful moment, they embraced. And then King Cole shot Rose in the back. As she watched the life drain out of her love, Cinders' eyes narrowed, her fist clenched, and her now scarlet ring plunged into the desiccated black heart of the king. There was an almighty crash as his ivory throne split down the center. And then silence. A long, bitter silence, broken only by the weeping of Cinders, sobbing over her lost love.
23 warriors and a king, laid in blood when the battle has done the price of a long due reckoning. Laid in blood when the battle has done. Old King Cole has paid the toll of the crimes levied upon his soul. The rebel blades have achieved their goal. Laid in blood when the battle has done. His mouth hangs open, his eyes are wild. With a gaping wound is his chest defiled, while round his split throat the dead lie piled. Laid in blood when the battle has done. 23 warriors and Snow White, laid in blood when the battle has done. Fought like the devil in the dead of night, laid in blood when the battle has done. Believed in peace yet marched to war, shot through the heart, dead upon the floor, covered in her own and her sister's gore. Laid in blood when the battle has done. With an army to lead and a war to win, put the bullet to dozens of her own kin, atoning for some vast and secret sin. Laid in blood when the battle has done. 23 warriors and a rose red, laid in blood when the battle has done. While outside the door many more lay dead, laid in blood when the battle has done. Her body lies in her wife's caress, her face is free of her life's distress, wearing the rags of her wedding dress. Laid in blood when the battle has done. Released from her cell like the wrath of hell, the 3 little pigs to her anger fell. But King Cole sounded her funeral knell. Laid in blood when the battle has done. 23 warriors gone to rest, laid in blood when the battle has done. Fought with the worst and died with the best. Laid in blood when the battle has done. Cinders saw her betrothed at last, her beauty untouched by the decades past. Then King Cole fired and it went too fast. Laid in blood when the battle has done. With the girl to whom through the years she'd sing, dead at the hand of the thrice-damned king. She pierced his chest with her blood-red ring. Laid in blood when the battle has done. Their bodies are still, and their blood is cold. The book is closed, and the story told. No happy ever after for a tale so old. Laid in blood when the battle has done.
Alrighty, guys. That was pretty crazy, huh? Did I forget to tell y'all that the mechanisms are known for having super tragic and sad endings? I think that might have slipped my mind. I think I might have forgotten to relay that piece of information. But yeah, it's such a good album, right? It's crazy good. If you're only just tuning in now, this we just listened to the album Once Upon a Time in Space by The Mechanisms on Pink Pony Club on Sin 90.7 FM. Yeah, that was such a great album, don't you think? It's my favorite of their 4 main concept albums. I bought it on iTunes. That's how much. And then I bought it again on Bandcamp. That's how much I love this album. Like, it's crazy good. It's great. No faults, no skips. I love it. Yeah, I also think I like the ending a lot. I feel like Laid in Blood. Oh, sorry, the songs we just played were Laid in Blood and Chapter the Last. I think Laid in Blood is like the final song is really good. I feel like when you listen to it out of context, you have to be in the mood. But when you listen to it with the album, it's just like it's not like a breather, but it's like you just get to sort of like sit with what just happened in the story and just like sort of be in that moment for those like 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So I just think it's great. I think it works really well. Now, if I had any semblance of intelligence at all, this is not the end of the show, by the way. We've got a few more songs going. The Mechanisms, whenever they perform like an album or anything, they will always end it with their song Drunk Space Pirate as a way to like liven up the show. They're like, oh, that was a bit of a bummer. Drunk Space Pirate, you know? Which is just their version of, oh my god, I can't remember the actual name. Drunken Sailor. There we go. Sorry. Brain blank for a second. But yeah, it's just their version of that, and it's just like set in space. It's great. It's awesome. So if I had any thought in my brain whatsoever, I would have downloaded that song, and we could have listened to it just now, but I didn't because I'm silly. So now we're just gonna. Oh wait, sorry. I have to make my little speech first. Thank you so much for everyone to listening to this album. I feel really honoured to be able to play The Mechanisms for you all, because like I've loved The Mechanisms for years. They were a formative part of like my growing up and my sort of adolescence and my teenage years. And I'm so excited that like I'm able to like give people a way to like hear about them. Because I don't make new music anymore, it's sort of hard for people that aren't in the know to like find out about their music. So hopefully I have made a Mechanisms fan out of one of you. Possibly you listening right now. Let's hope so. Who knows? If you like The Mechanisms, if you want to know more about them, if you want to know more about us, myself, my co-host Lucy, if you want to know who is not here, because she was available and I feel terrible that she wasn't here, but it means I got to do this show, so I'm terrible but happy at the same time. We have an Instagram account called Pink Pony Club SYN. So Pink Pony Club Sin is the tag, the handle, if you will. So yeah, send us a message. Be like, hey, this is great, or hey, I didn't like this, and I'll be like, okay, my feelings. But just send us a message and be like, hey, these are my thoughts. We would love to hear from you guys. Now we are going to play some little bonus songs. So we got a couple songs from their single albums, Tales to be Told and Tales to be Told Volume 2. These are songs that The Mechanisms made as like the stories contained into one song. It's not over a whole album. And a lot of them were made as like GoFundMes to like afford their upcoming albums. They would make the Tales to be Told albums, and if you pledged or you gave them a certain amount of money, then you were able to like prompt them on like what possibly could be their next song. So they have a song on Tales to be Told Volume 2 called Drop Dead, which is about the game Crypt of the Necrodancer. And they've got some like on that album as well. You've got Stranger, which is based on like a type of Japanese myth that I can't remember the name of. The Crane Wife, I think it's called. I don't know. So they got a bunch of stuff like that based on a lot of different things. So we'll get to that in a sec. This next song, though, is one of the backstories for one of the band members. This is the backstory of Ashes O'Reilly, the quartermaster of the band. Ashes O'Reilly is played by Frank Voss, who is very cool. Also, if you didn't know, Jonathan Sims, the guy that is the lead singer and like sort of was the main guy in this band, he has a very famous fiction podcast called The Magnus Archives. So if you really liked his voice and you want to hear more of it, check out The Mechanisms or listen to the podcast, because Jonathan Sims, the voice actor, stars as the main character, also titled Jonathan Sims, which is a crazy thing to do when you're writing something. But you know what? I respect it. Frank Voss and Jessica Law, as well as Tim Ledson. Oh my god, I can't remember his name. 3 other members of this band also feature in the Magnus archives, which is pretty cool. Anyways, sorry, I'm rambling. This is Ashes O'Reilly's song, Lucky Sevens, by The Mechanisms. Let their voice take you away. And, yeah, just vibe out. You know, just have a good time. This is a good song.
In the dying light of Malone's twin sons, I set north the cityscape. I find you in the back of an orphan house, dreaming of escape. Well, the name's Smooth Mickey, I've been watching your work, and I like the way that it burns. But you don't understand who runs this world, and I think it's time you learn. Well, the lucky sevens, they rule the streets. The dice are loaded and they play for keeps. The fire burns bright in the cool dark night when the sevens are in luck. So take my hand, let's get out of here. Uncle Mickey will show you the way. We can use your pyromaniacal talents. Ashes, what do you say?
Well, all 11 years of my life I've been alone, and now there's you. So hand me the matches and the gasoline, 'cause we've got work to do.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I'm a lucky 7, I'm in my beliefs. I got a loaded dice and I was born to cheat. The fire burns bright in the heat of the night when the sevens are in luck.
Da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Nick, you've been a 7 a long, long time. 12 years if it's been a day. Well, the aces are moving on our turf, and they seem to know our play.
What you saying?
We got a stool pigeon in our ranks, and I've been hunting down the snitch. Well, the trail leads back to you, Uncle Dear. Payback's gonna be a bitch.
Well, I always knew you were a real smart kid. I figured you might track me down. But they don't call me Smooth Mickey for nothing. I'm the big boss of this town. Well, you see, I needed a fall guy for the sevens to send to the grave. And by the smoke that you smell and the heat at your heels, you can guess whose name I gave. Well, the lucky sevens, they got you beat. Your dice may be loaded, but they melt in the heat. The fire burns bright under you tonight, 'cause Ashes, you're out of luck. Oh, the fire scorches your flesh and the smoke fills your lungs. Looks like your old snake eyes, Ashes O'Reilly. I guess your game is done. No, ain't no way I saw you burn.
Yeah, it's funny how that works out for you, isn't it?
What happened? It was nothing personal. Join up with me and the Aces. We're gonna rule this world.
No, I think I'll pass, actually.
Killing me ain't gonna do you no good, Ashes.
Oh, but it will make me feel so much better.
Wait. It's not just me, the Aces, the Sevens, the Cups. They're all in it together. What you gonna do? Ain't enough gasoline out there to burn down an entire planet.
It's funny, actually. I might have believed you if you'd said that a while ago, but things have changed.
No, Ashes! Ashes, wait! Well, the lucky Sevens have lost their game. Loaded dice don't help when your world's aflame. The fire burns bright everywhere tonight, 'cause the Sevens are out of love.
Okay, that was Lucky Sevens by The Mechanisms. So yeah, that was the backstory song for one of the members of The Mechanisms, Ashes O'Reilly. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Ashes comes from a sort of very gambly mafia sort of planet, and they're in an orphanage and they get picked up by Smooth Mickey and they join this sort of gangy thing, and then Smooth Mickey betrays them. And then they die, but then they get mechanized, and then they come back and they're immortal, and it's crazy. I'm going to go into a bit of the Mechanisms lore right now for that to make more sense. So, in the Mechanisms universe, with these characters, to become mechanized means that you have died, and a part of your body, most likely the part of the body that has killed you, has been replaced by metal and robots, or it's not the part of you anymore. So Johnny DeVille, his character, his heart was replaced, it was mechanized, and now he's immortal. Same with Ash's lungs got mechanized because of all the smoke and stuff. Their lungs weren't working, so the lungs got mechanized. Now they're immortal. Now if you're wondering who is this person that does all the mechanizing, you're going to be thinking of Dr. Carmilla. Dr. Carmilla was a very early member of the band. She was the one that came up with the whole concept for the band, and she also has her own music. Dr. Carmilla is played by Maki Yamazaki. Amazing. Such a good singer. So if you want to listen to Dr. Carmilla's music, you can find it on YouTube, or Bandcamp is also a good way to find it. But yeah, so Dr. Carmilla was a member of the Mechanisms, but left before their first album to write her own music, stuff like that. So Dr. Carmilla is an immortal vampire who is the one that mechanizes all of the Mechanisms. That's a weird sentence to say. But yeah, so she's the one that does all this stuff, and she's a bit contentious with the fans of the Mechanisms. Surprisingly, there are fans of the Mechanisms, if you would think. There are a lot more than you think, even though they've been dead for or they haven't made music for 5 years. But yeah, a lot of people are ooh, is she a good person? Is she a bad person? And it's she's a mortal, man. And she's also not real. But you know what? I think she's great. I like her. Anyway, she is the one that created the Mechanisms. She is the one that brought Ashes back to life in that song. And in a lot of the other concept songs, there are a few concept songs. Not every Mechanism has a backstory in a song. I forgot to mention, another fun thing about the Mechanisms is that they have fiction. On the Mechanisms website, they have stories that they've written about some of the characters, about how all the Mechanisms interact on their spaceship. And they also have songs set in the worlds of their albums. So there are songs set in the time period and the planet of Once Upon a Time in Space. So you can read more about the album you really like, which is so cool. There's one for Ulysses Dies at Dawn about Orpheus and Narcissus, and it's really good. It's the best thing ever. Anyways, so that was Ashes' backstory. Pretty cool, I shall say. Now, speaking of Ulysses Dies at Dawn, their second concept album, It's based all around Greek mythology. Now, this next song is set in that universe, but is from one of their single albums. So it's not in that album, it's like a separate album. This is about the story of the man himself, Prometheus. So, this is the song, aptly titled Prometheus by The Mechanisms. Give it a listen.
Welcome back, punks and rebels. You're listening to Radio Free Ilium, broadcasting wherever we can on whatever frequencies we can hack. Let's start with a song for the haters out there who polish Olympian spears. The government may say he's a crook, but we all know who the real crooks are. You all know this one. It's Prometheus by TLS.
5 years into the alien war, the city built a firewall that cut us from their urban sprawl and kept the signal out. The barricades that tried and failed, the green recruits are made of nails, but without the wireless speed of life, we were finally cut off. Then one man broke through, found a way to aid our righteous coup. Prometheus, the hero who let us hold up the horn. Prometheus, who proved the keyboard's mightier than the song. Prometheus, he gave his life to keep our spirits strong. When we pass into the Acheron, we'll be singing out his song. Our homes were burned and blighted, shells their military had overwhelmed. The movements of their soldiers were now bent beyond our sight. Without a word, he gave us all the data that could bring their fall. He didn't ask for accolades and didn't name a price. He gave us hope on that night. The lonely chance that kept us in the fight. Prometheus, the hero who let us hold up the horn. Prometheus, who proved the keyboard's mightier than the sword. Prometheus, he gave his life to keep our spirits strong. When we pass into the Acheron, we'll be singing out his song. Turn a blind eye. They'd lost so many soldiers that he surely had to die. They snatched him from his lair before he said his last goodbye. And they cracked down on his followers and said his world was light. But the legacy he left us means the gods we will defy. And even as our homeland dies, we scream his battle cry. Prometheus, the hero who let us hold off the horn. Prometheus, who proved the keyboard's mightier than the sword. Prometheus, he gave his life to keep our spirits strong. When we pass into the Acheron, we'll be singing out his song.
Yeah, fucking separatists.
That was Prometheus by The Mechanisms. You are listening to Pink Pony Club on SYN. We are talking about all things The Mechanisms, a queer British band of immortal space pirates. Got too caught up in the flair, forgot what I was saying. Yeah, I love that song so much. The piano solo, crazy. Also, like, the introduction by Drum Bop Ryan, where he's like, "Hello, punks and rebels," and he's speaking like he's on the radio. If you notice, I did say that at the start of the show. If you've been listening this whole time, that's how I introduced the show. Crazy. It's all coming full circle in it. I do love that part. And then, like, it's just great. It's so good. It's such a good song. We need more Prometheus representation in the Mechanisms lore. Anyways, yeah, it's a crazy song. I love that song so much. I'm just like, I want to vibe. Prometheus by The Mechanisms. It's coming on, you know? I am turning the speakers up. Alrighty, guys. This is our last song. Our last song for the night. Are you devastated? I'm devastated that it has to end. But yet, all good things must come to an end, and we must trudge on. This last song was, like, #1 Spotify track 1 year. I don't even remember what year. It was my favorite song by The Mechanisms for years. Makes me feel warm and happy whenever I listen to it. This song is from their third concept album about Arthurian myth called High Noon over Camelot. The song is about conversations between Arthur, Lancelot, and Guinevere while they're on a quest to find the Holy Grail with this guy Galahad. You know, Arthur, Lancelot, and Guinevere, they're in a relationship in this story, so it's like they're sort of loving jabs at each other, and it just really shows how much they care about, like, each other and how they want to keep each other safe while on this, like, dangerous quest. It's beautiful. It's so nice. It's so good, and it's going to take us out for the night. While you're listening, right at the start, there's a line where Lancelot sings, "Guinevere, you're my stars, and Arthur, you're my knight." Literally, favorite thing ever written ever, possibly. The best line ever written for anything. Confirmed it's that. It's so good. And, like, there's a bunch of lore behind what it means set in the universe. But even on its own, it's beautiful. It's just a very beautiful song. I would like to thank everyone so much for listening to me ramble about this band that means so much to me. I'm very, very grateful. We're going to close a little early tonight, but that's okay. Let you guys go to bed. It's a school night tomorrow. But yeah, so thank you so much for hearing me out and just joining with me on this lovely time. Yeah, this has been Pink Pony Club on SYN, SYN 90.7 FM. Yeah, stay gold, pony boys. This is Blood and Whiskey by The Mechanisms.
Oh, my loves, raise a glass to those we leave behind. We may end up dead with a bullet in the head, but if we're not returning from this damn fool quest, then tonight let's drown our sorrows down with whiskey. Guinevere, you're my stars, Arthur, you're my knight, and I know we've got to ride at the dawn's first light. And I ain't saying this preacher man's crusade ain't right, but first let's fuel a few more sins with whiskey.
Lancelot, you're a fool to drink your bottle dry. Whiskey kills your fear, and you want to keep that near, 'cause I don't know what is out there, but we need that grail. And I love you, but you stink to hell of whiskey. Galahad is crazy, but you felt that heat, and the only explanation comes from his damn seat. And with you and Guinevere, I know we won't be beat, so we might as well have one more drop of whiskey. is a dream that I've had as we ride out west of a golden age, and this world's wrongs all redressed. But I wake to find there's nothing here but fear and death, and between the two there's only blood and wind.